What's going on, guys? It's Dan here. Welcome to the DanQ Review Supershow for, well, this month, I guess. Today we will be reviewing two games that were pretty well, anticipated and everyone wanted to see it, and I love both of them. But I don't want to jump too many guns regardless of what happened, but there are some details I want to get into. But like all the super shows, for those of you probably know by now, but if you do not, well, I'm just going to tell you really fast. If you ever wanted to skip any of this right now, you can skip to the reviews that you prefer to see. If you didn't want to like a particular one, you can just select another one, or you can just let it play through and watch the whole thing as it is, which is completely fine. I don't care what you do, whatever works best. As well with the super shows as of late, sorry, not just the super shows, but any review as of late. Ever since I did the Summer of Arcade, I've decided to throw in gameplay into my reviews, so you guys at least have something else to watch besides me and talking and about random stuff. Okay, so does that sound good to you? In case you you're always you're off-putted, or you know what I mean. You don't know. You want to see some gameplay. Well, you will. All right. It's a new thing I'm doing for the DanQ reviews. Alrighty. So let's start off with our first game of the day, and that is Sleeping Dogs. Let's do the summary right now. Sleeping Dogs is available on PlayStation 3, Xbox 360, and PC. It is a action-adventure open-world title. It is developed by United Front Games and Square Enix London, and it is published by Square Enix. Okay, so I'm just going to put this on the floor now. Oops. So let me talk about Sleeping Dogs. Basically, a bit of backstory for you, if you will. Okay, Sleeping Dogs essentially used to be True Crime Hong Kong. I'm sure a lot of you are familiar with the True Crime series. However, last minute, pretty much the development team, the publishers, pretty much wanted to ditch it. I can't remember the exact reason, but basically it was saved by Square Enix. They picked it up, whatever was finished, they pretty much kept what was finished. All they had to do was rename it, since they could not acquire the True Crime title. So they rebranded it Sleeping Dogs, as a quick summary. That's why everyone's wondering, this looks like True Crime. It pretty much is True Crime. So, yeah, that's that. Alrighty, so let's talk into good things and bad things about this game. Okay, first thing I liked about the game. There are a few things, I'm going to try to keep this shorter, because I tend to drone, and every time I say I'll keep it shorter, I end up going it's just as long as I try to avoid. But anyways, Sleeping Dogs, one of the biggest things that I liked about it was the atmosphere. I mean, you're really in the heart of Hong Kong in China, and you really feel like you're there the whole time, and the scenery is very Chinese, but it's not cliched stereotype Chinese. Well, it is sometimes, and I would make fun of that, but you went from many different environments. Like, you started off, say, in the Chinese markets, where there's street vendors selling you clothing, and they're actual knockoff clothing, until you go to the legit stores as you go up. So it's pretty funny how they're fake clothing. You can buy different Chinese meals and things like that. It just feels unique like that. And you move on to bigger areas that are more there's some temples that you can go see. You can even fight in dojos, things like that. It's very Chinese, and it feels realistic, especially with the right-hand drive in Hong Kong. Hong Kong, though, is one of the only cities in China that has right-hand drive in the vehicles, which was because of the Great Britain's dominion of them way back when, right? So they still drive right-hand drive, and it threw me off when I first got in the car. It was mad funny watching me try to drive in oncoming traffic. Whoops, and you just had to switch sides. But the atmosphere was a big thing for me in this game. Another massive thing for everybody that I'm sure that a lot of you noticed. There's a lot of things that stand out about it. The combat, the melee combat dominantly. The melee combat is way more advanced than I've seen in a while. While it is simple, it does deliver a very interesting and cool look to it. Different combos, they're not crazy like these traditional hack and slash games where you have to dash, square, square, blah, 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 or whatever the case would be, right? And this one, there's simple combos, but they're easy to get a hold of, and they look awesome, and each one does a different variety. So You can do a basic square, 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 square combo, square, square, B, or circle. I'm like combining Xbox 360 controller with PlayStation 3 controller right here, okay? Just so it's easy for everybody to understand. So like you have your heavy attacks, your light attacks, your big combos, your takedowns. I love the takedowns, you know, and you can go to the dojo, I just call it a dojo, but the karate club or whatever, learn from your old master, and develop the new things that you got from before. And like, for example, like you basically find these items. You find jade statues throughout the city as you're doing these missions, and you bring it back to him, and he'll teach you a new fighting move. So I did eventually find all of them by chance. I didn't look anything up. I just found them all by going to various places in the main story, and I learned the entire move set that I could. And there were some really awesome moves that you can get, like breaking one's leg and arm. I don't know, like crazy ass takedowns with a massive punch, one of my favorites. Crazy ass like returning kicks. Well, I don't know what they call it in that one. That's what I call it because I was in Taekwondo. I was a black belt. I was in Taekwondo for like 3 years. But anyway, that one, it was one by far my favorite. The combos were just so satisfying, beating the shit out of like 10-on-1 scenarios, and you just kicking their ass. Like the countering, the blocking or whatever. There's no blocking, there's countering, but different counter abilities, things like that. The combat I really enjoyed, and I really think a lot of people did too. That's what made this game really fun. Now, another thing that really stood out for Sleeping Dogs, and I'm sure a lot of people will agree with me on this one, is definitely the chase scenes. Depending where you are, if you're chasing down a suspect or you're, for your gang, because you're playing basically a double agent while you're in there. You're undercover as a triad, up-and-coming triad. And basically, whatever you're doing, the chase scenes would be super epic. Like you'd be, say for example, you're on a motorcycle, and you have guys all around you. You can shoot the tires, you can shoot the gas tanks, things will just explode. If you're shooting bikes, you can shoot the tires as well, and the bikes will flip off, and the guys will just fly everywhere. You could shoot them through the windows and like kill them like that. Just so much carnage in these chase scenes. And you can also, there's an ability where you can jump from one vehicle to the next. Like say for example, you're chasing a guy and he's in this supercar basically, and you're in this motorbike and you need the car, you need to beat the shit out of him or stop or something. You can get behind him, jump from your bike, land on the roof of the car and throw him out and take the vehicle. It's like so awesome, and I felt, especially when I was riding the bikes were like very, very fast. Like the crotch rockets, you got the really fast ones, and you were just gone. Like you were gone and nothing was stopping you, and you had to maneuver the traffic and shoot the guys while you're doing it. It was epic. That was one of my favorite parts of the game. Alright, let's talk about the storyline. The storyline was very interesting from my perspective. A Chinese man whose family moved him to the United States, I believe it was in San Francisco, and he comes back having all this knowledge of the Chinese triads, and having been there, his home country, his hometown of Hong Kong, and being placed back into this triad world with the experience of a cop and the experience of a triad knowledge from growing up. So it's a really cool thing how he earns the trust of both sides, both factions, and how he's struggling to make moral decisions with the police and with the triads. He starts to like his buddies in the triads, his triad gang too much. It starts to conflict with cop matters, but he's got to stay true, and you kind of control the way that goes. You do and you don't. But the way this story works out, I loved it. I thought it was a really interesting storyline. Had a lot of fun playing it. It's a solid, I think, 8 to 9 hour campaign. Further, if you do straight up story missions, if you do other stuff, you'll have more time as well. Which I might as well say. Here's something, I don't really want to put this as a positive or a negative. I do want to say though, there's lots to do in the game. There's a lot of collections, but it does not warranty a ton of stuff. Like once you're done the single player, let's just get into some negatives first, and that's what we're going to do. Solid, okay, we'll just recap the good stuff. I love the environments, the atmospheres. I love the fighting mechanics. I love the chase scenes with the parkour elements. I forgot to mention that, the parkour in it. So if you're free running along like rooftops, jumping to chase a suspect down, or whether you're in a vehicle, the chase scenes were awesome and they were a lot of fun. And finally, there was a good storyline that I thought was entertaining and it kept your attention. Okay, let's move on to a couple negatives here. The problem with Sleeping Dogs is That's just it, okay? While there are other things to do, you're pretty much going to be done with it once you finish the single player. I've gone back and done a Return to Hong Kong segment where I've done missions that I didn't do, whether they be like dates, and like, because you can go on dates with women and just bone them like crazy. It's pretty funny. And you can go on, you know, these other side missions, like just little favors they call them, just little quick 5-10 minute missions where you help out someone real fast to get face experience and things like that. And you know, that kind of stuff. I'm losing my train of thought for some reason. Oh my god, what am I trying to say? I can't think. Right. Okay, it gets repetitive. There you go. It gets repetitive. A little bit. You know, you get kind of tired of it. It's not anything crazy. Each one is kind of similar in style. Like the objective and the characters may be new, but the basis is the same. So it really doesn't make that much of a difference whether or not you do them or not. It just gets you face value or face experience or triad experience or cop experience. So whatever you do for each thing, you get different experience, which allows you to unlock new things. And like, for example, I have a beef with the face experience, and let me explain why. Like, my character was flippin' loaded. He had like $1 million Hong Kong dollars. I don't know why they called them Hong Kong dollars. I can't remember what they call them, but in this game they're Hong Kong dollars. That could be right. I don't know. I'm not from Hong Kong. But anyways, I had like 1 million of them. Like it said in the I had 1 million, so I could buy cars. I could buy badass suits. I could buy bling. I could buy the works to pimp up my character. I couldn't even drive them, let alone wear them, because in order to buy certain vehicles and certain clothing, you have to have a face value, and your face is basically your image and how people look at you. So you get face experience by doing favors and going on dates, you know, things that like increase your reputation and your image as a person. So you couldn't drive these vehicles or wear these clothing, these really nice ones, until you're like face level 8 out of 10. And the thing is, it's not like quick face value. It takes time. So you're spending all this time to get out of this ghetto like knockoff clothing, and you just upgrade to the real version before you can even get the suit. I remember there was a mission where it had this badass suit, like it was a white tux with a black shirt. It looked so nice, and you wore it as a part of the main mission, but you couldn't wear it casually because at that time you didn't have the face value. It was so funny, and just that whole experience thing seemed a little annoying to achieve it, just because for what you want to wear, you have the ability to purchase it, but it won't let you wear it. Who cares? You've got enough money. That should be enough face value, you know? You got the money to buy it. That's how people get their baller status. They don't just get it from, yo, can you help me fix this car? And then some broad, you know, this chick's like, oh, please fix my car, mister. And you start helping her, and it's a tag team combination where some asshole just steals your money. You have to chase his ass down. Lots of crap like that. So it does tend to get a little repetitive, not overly too much replay value because of that. So unfortunately, you'll play your fill in the main campaign and you're pretty much done. Until if you do decide to do DLC content, which I believe there are some coming out in terms of story DLC. I'm not 100% sure. I usually only purchase story-based DLC to increase it for that, you know, for that value, because I did like the game. So if you take a look at that, you know, you get rid of the repetitiveness, the complicated, like having to spend a lot of time just to be able to wear and drive certain things, and the fact that the gameplay does get a bit repetitive, just the missions over and over. It is a really solid game. Not perfect by any means. However, I had a lot of fun with this game, and I do recommend this as a purchase for anyone who likes an open world crime-based game, similar to Grand Theft Auto, but you shouldn't compare this game to Grand Theft Auto because it really isn't. But I do recommend this as a purchase, so I'm going to rate this game right now. I think Sleeping Dogs deserves an 8 out of 10. I really enjoyed it. Most games I never go back to, but since I liked the gameplay of it, and I liked the character of Wei Shen, and I liked the whole atmosphere of Hong Kong, I went back and did some missions. I never do that with anything. So that says a lot. I do recommend this game to everybody. Sleeping Dogs, 8 out of 10. Thoroughly enjoyed it. I know a lot of you guys did too. Alrighty, let's move on. Whew. Next title. I'll just get this. Hold on. Am I still in focus? Focus, please. Thank you. Hello. Alrighty. Next game on the list is Transformers Fall of Cybertron. Alright. Next sequel to War of Cybertron. As you guys know, it went Transformers War of Cybertron, Transformers Dark of the Moon, which was a movie tie-in, which it completely sucked. It was rushed. From what I hear, I never played it. And then the story from Transformers War of Cybertron picks up with Fall of Cybertron here, just to get the idea. Because people were like, we want a sequel to the first War of Cybertron. Well, you're getting it. Stop complaining. Okay? Anyway, let's do the summary real quick. Alright, Transformers Fall of Cybertron is available on Xbox 360, PlayStation 3, and PC. It is a third-person shooter game developed by High Moon Studios and published by Activision. Alrighty, Transformers Fall of Cybertron. What can I say about Transformers? Quite a bit. Let's talk about the main campaign. Actually, no, let's not talk about the campaign just yet. Let me talk about something that a lot of people know. Okay, I was born in 1991. I'm 21 years old, okay? The first Transformers, known as Generation 1, I believe they first started airing the cartoons in, please don't hate on me, I wasn't even alive during this period, but I think it was 82. Maybe 81. Like 81 or something to 84, 85. I can't remember. I'm sure a lot of the people born in that era would know what I'm talking about. This, myself, never got the ability to go completely with Generation 1. I knew about it. I watched some Transformers cartoons. I played with the toys. Yes, I did, okay? But I wasn't alive during that decade. So, the main Transformers decade is a big thing, and this game directly reflects the original Generation 1. It's basically, they changed a few things like the way the vehicles look and things like that, but it's based off of Generation 1. So, here's the thing. This game has, I do recall them, not being a major fan, because I was not even a creation in the world yet. I can't be a fan. It does have nostalgic value. I do recall a lot of this stuff. A lot of people corrected me. However, I do see the nostalgia factor that a lot of people have. This is very, like, old school Transformers is what it is, and I'm sure that's what a lot of people liked about it. Funny thing about this, though, people would be like in the comments, like of different videos being, oh God, how does he not know what Generation 1 is? I mean, everybody knows, right? How could I if I was born in 91? What do you want? I mean, I'm sorry, I didn't know what Generation 1 was. I didn't know the title. I knew of Transformers. They were just Transformers to me. And then you got some people who are like, well, I'm born in this year, who are younger than me, and I know what it is. It's not an excuse. People are crazy. I'm sorry. I never was a major Transformers fan. I liked the toys. I liked some of the movies. Well, not the new ones. That's mean. I watched some of the older cartoons. And I played with the other toys as a kid. But I wasn't like hardcore, you know, I'm going to transform right now into a helicopter and fly into the moon. No. I'm sorry. Regardless, I can see how it has a nostalgic factor. Alrighty? Okay, let's move on. Let's talk about the campaign. So, the campaign was different to War of Cybertron in the fact that it had one campaign. In War of Cybertron, you had Autobots and a Decepticons campaign, both separate and both in a different story. This one they were joined, meaning you'd be playing as Autobots in a few missions and you swap over to Decepticons. Few missions you'd be Autobots and Decepticons in the same mission. This was a good thing and a bad thing. It was good in the sense that it was so awesome. I remember one of the last levels, you switched between, you went Autobot, Decepticon, Autobot, Autobot, Decepticon. Like, you were constantly switching between different enemies, all trying to, basically you're having a war with yourself, because you're switching with both factions doing things against each other. It was crazy. You're just like battle after battle, epic after epic. It was amazing in that sense that you could constantly switch and, you know, you're both, it's weird. You're at a war with yourself, but it's interesting. That's what I liked about it. You know, you're kind of working for one goal. You're both trying to take over Cybertron or whatever the case would be, right? Or one's trying to protect it, one's trying to take it over, whatever the case is. You would switch between factions and see both sides of the story, which was really cool. However, having said that, compared to War of Cybertron, you're getting a shorter campaign. Since basically what they did, look at it this way, okay? You have two large campaigns. Okay, that looks like dicks. Okay, no, damn. Okay, we'll do this. There we go. Okay, that's better. We have 2 large campaigns, okay? On both sides, whether you have Autobots and Decepticons. What happens if you combine them? Okay, say this is War of Cybertron. Or War for Cybertron, sorry. Here's the 2 campaigns separate. When you combine them, this is what you get. Half of both into one. So you get a shorter one, less involvement with the Decepticons and Autobots, and one giant, mix of things. So that aspect, it's a little unfortunate because it is short. I beat this game in, how long was it? I want to say 6 hours or so. Above average, but still, for what it is, it's not crazy, okay? I did like the storyline. It was better than most. It's Transformers. It's very, very Transformer-like. There were some pretty awesome things that occurred, and I enjoyed it in that sense. Okay, let's move on to the multiplayer gameplay, or the multiplayer here. Basically, they have 2 different multiplayer modes. They have basic multiplayer, and they also have a horde type mode, which is basically you and a group of buddies. I can't remember the title. I never did it because I get kind of tired of the horde modes. They're very similar. You and a group of buddies can take on waves and waves of enemies. Okay, but in terms of multiplayer itself, I loved it. You have tons of different. You can customize your Autobots and your Decepticons with their voice, their look, their build. You can have a generic chassis of one of your favorite Autobots or Decepticons if you want. Like say you like Starscream. You can get the Starscream preset and you'll be Starscream in multiplayer. Or you can make your own custom face, body, arms, legs, depending what class you are, cannon, wings, or whatever. It's amazing. And you can change the vehicle type by changing the chest. So I went through all the different vehicle types and played as each one and each class. There's 4 different classes, all serve a different purpose, and all are equally awesome in their own way. First up, I don't know. Okay, anyway, the gameplay of it is really fast-paced and entertaining. My favorite classes definitely are Scientist and Destroyer. I love those 2 classes. Just such quick gameplay, crazy epicness, lots to do. I love the multiplayer in that sense. It was really, really fun. Problem. How long can you play it? After a while, it does get a little stale, and you're kind of milk, I don't know, what's the term? Milking a dead horse or something like that, or poking a dead horse, you know what I mean? So the game is pretty much, you're done with it, and, there's not much you can do anymore. You've played it, all it has, and that's it. So, I got bored of the multiplayer the longer I played. So, would I be able to go back to it? Yes, but you have to pace yourself. So it is repetitive in that sense, and I did like it overall. However, a few things made this game, I probably won't ever play those games again. Most people go back for multiplayer, but now that you're done the campaign, you can go back and collect blueprints and things like that if you want to, but it really feels repetitive at that point, and you don't really feel like you want to at all. So that's kind of a big thing, and it kind of hurts the score a bit. However, not much. I still like Transformers War of Cybertron. Not spectacular, but pretty good. So, pretty damn good. I'm going to say pretty damn good. It makes a difference saying pretty damn good. So, if you remove it, you get kind of bored of it. You remove the kind of short single-player campaign that was kind of condensed for one campaign, and you get rid of that. But you compare it to the fun aspect of switching factions on the fly like that, and having unique characters to work with, really fun multiplayer. I'm definitely a happy camper with this game. I'm going to give Transformers Fall of Cybertron a 7.75 out of 10. I thoroughly enjoyed it. I'll bet you some people have more fun with it than I did, especially the original people who love the Generation 1 series. Definitely, especially for the nostalgic factor. So, that's all I got to say about these 2 games. Thanks for watching this episode of the DanQ Review Super Show. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you enjoyed these games. Lots to come, guys, so stay tuned. Thanks again for watching. I'll see you next time. Have a good one. And, yeah, take it easy.